Hi guys, welcome to episode 54. Yeah, 54.
Yeah, sure, why not? You'll find out when we put it up.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just talking, before we get into it actually, hit subscribe button, like button, share button, comment below, and drop us your thoughts. Find us at the Grapplers Academy everywhere. And yeah, make sure you hit us up. But before we're recording, we sort of started going through the topics, and it's kind of a subject hard to avoid this week, innit? The old football, and we're sort of, yeah, it's just one of them ones where I don't care. Yeah, Bond doesn't either. It's kind of like, you were saying that you watched it because...
Yeah, I knew it'd be the only thing that I was coming into work to talk about yesterday.
Yeah.
It'd be everybody talking about the football, so I watched it, and it was like, after the first goal, after the goal, which was a great goal,
yeah.
It was like watching it and thinking, this is 90 minutes of my life, I'm never going to get back.
2 hours of your life.
Yeah, pretty much. And I stopped watching it after the regulation time, but at some point I just opened up YouTube on my phone and just started watching some YouTube videos for that in the background. But I don't know, like, cool. People talk about jiu-jitsu, it's boring to watch, and it kind of is sometimes, but fucking hell, can help me watching the football. If the whole nation can get behind something that boring, why can't more people start enjoying combat sports? Because they love a fucking punch up at the end of the match.
Oh, that seeing all that footage really annoyed me. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't watch the game, had zero interest in it, and I actually had a pre-warning off my mates being like, please Si, it's a special day to us, don't line us up today, and I was like, I couldn't care less, to be honest. Like, but if you react in a daft way, I'm going for the jugular. Like, I won't comment on the football. I'm just gonna purely wind you up on how you react. I
had a great idea that I've run by a couple of people, and they'd be way more interested in watching football as well if this was the case. So you can't decide. No match ends in a draw. Okay, if there's no winner in 90 minutes, punch up. Team punch up at the end, that Russian style 11-on-11 MMA, but no sub outs. So whoever's on the pitch in the match has got to stay on. So you can't bring a team of fighters in at the end, is what I'm saying. Decent. So all these ones that have been diving from little toe flicks and all that sort of stuff for 90 minutes, now they've got to do a punch up.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
Like, would you say like hockey style 1v1? It's kind of like a winner stays on type of thing. So it's like a penalty shootout but with punch ups.
Yeah. Oh my god, can you imagine if you just had one absolutely... You'd have one guy who's just an MMA specialist, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And
just put him at the back in defence.
Yeah, just let him run around for the 90 minutes of the match just so that he's staying on at the end for the win. Because they have it in hockey, don't they? Like an enforcer.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It'd make the sport a lot more interesting.
It'd make it a lot more interesting. And the thing is, a lot of these things boil down to... and whether the players do it on the pitch, whether it's rugby, football, whatever, or the fans end up doing it at the end, everyone wants a punch up.
Yeah.
Like, people are mad that they lost, punch up. People are overexcited that they won. They see an opponent fan, punch up. It's always a fucking punch up, and it's disgusting. So basically, all sports boil down to having a fight. Like, rugby's pretty close to it, and they're always scrapping, and the fans are nice and relaxed.
Yeah.
Let the footballers have a punch up. Everyone's relaxed.
You've got a good theory there, to be fair.
The less fighting there is in the game, the more fighting there is in the crowd. So
I can see that completely. Like, it just baffles me. Like, you go to watch a fairly peaceful sport, and this tribalistic idiot decides that he's wearing a different colour shirt to me. I'm going to go and punch him in the back of the head when he's not watching. And it's like, oh yeah, and well I'd be and knock somebody out. You knocked out a father or two who stood there with his kids and his back turned to you. Big man.
Yeah. No, you deserve arresting for that.
Yeah.
I was going to say something then as well. I mean, like, all joking aside, I know like there was a couple of fans that got attacked after the Denmark game. They fucking won the match. And you still attack, like, what is the mentality of these people? What's that sport? That's what I was going to say. That sport in Italy where it's like football/basketball, but also kickboxing as well at the same time. You ever seen it?
No.
So they stand in a big open like mud, clay, like football pitch basically. It's got walls and there's nets on the walls, so you've got to kind of like the idea of the game is that you get the ball, you run it in your hand, and it's like rugby, but you've got to put it through the basketball net.
Okay.
But there's like 30 people on the pitch, and it's MMA fighting basically. You can kick and punch and wrestle each other. So what you generally tend to find is that there's one person or a couple of people trying to run the ball into the net, and then everybody else is just kicking fuck out of each other. But it's all like I don't think they call them counties in Italy, but it's like a regional thing. So the counties will play other counties, and it's a historic traditional thing.
That's not bad.
I'm going to try and find it now.
Because it reminds me of, was it Kabaddi from, is it India?
Yeah.
It's like, is it similar concept with the goals and the ball, but they're just wrestling? And it's like, is it like British Bulldog? It's just a great concept of combat sports mixed in with a ball sport. And do you see the fans fighting afterwards?
I'm not going to attempt to pronounce this, but it's it's essentially what I said it was. So it's rugby, basketball, football, and MMA all rolled into one. It looks great. I remember seeing it on remember Trans World Sports that used to be on Channel?
Yeah.
Like 4:30 in the morning. Fuck knows what I was doing up at that time, but I remember seeing it and thinking, this is great. Like, getting well into this. But yeah, maybe that's why the Italian football fans and players have got a bit more aggression. And the way that it spilled over.
Possibly.
The match like it did. But I'd be down for seeing more of that. That's all good stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking of actual fighting or anticlimactical fighting or more shit talking where it wasn't needed, McGregor was fighting again this weekend, wasn't he?
Like, some people have the conversation with him where it's kind of like, oh, hopefully this will be the last of McGregor in the sport. I highly doubt that. I can pretty much guarantee he's going to have another rematch with Dustin and just amp up the trash talk again and go 3 fights to 1. Was it? Yeah, 3 fights to 1.
I think it's a shame because obviously he's got the legacy that he's had. I think I think the sport's moved on from him. I don't think the UFC needs Conor McGregor to be successful, and McGregor did a great thing for putting the UFC on the platform that it's on. And he's definitely boosted the profile to the casual fans and just be like everybody. You can go and speak to your auntie or your granny. You know Conor McGregor's name.
Yeah.
For good or for bad, like most people know the name Conor McGregor, whether it be from the Mayweather fight or whatever. But I think the sport's probably moved on from him, and it doesn't need him now to carry on being successful. There's a lot more people coming in, and I'm not saying that he's irrelevant in the sport, because he's still a big draw and a big name, and I'm sure got the potential to still be as good a fighter as he was. I don't know. I just think the sport's moved on and it doesn't need him. What do you reckon?
I wholeheartedly agree with that, but I do think that McGregor's marketing and his business team around him have convinced the UFC that they need him, because he was out of the ring for a couple of years. When was the last time I fought? Was it Dustin again?
Yeah.
And they still build it up as the fight of the year. And it's not even a title fight. There's nothing on the line other than a win or a loss. And it was still dubbed as the big fight of the year, the pay-per-view in the UK. It was the headline fight of 264. Yet there was nothing on the line.
I'd like to see the difference in the numbers between this one and the Cerrone fight. Because I just feel, I don't know, without seeing the numbers, I haven't really paid that much attention to this one, if I'm perfectly honest. So I'm just assuming that the general interest is declining more and more. But he's still a massive name, isn't he?
Yeah.
And I don't think that's ever going to go away. A couple of my mates and me were joking, like, how can he transition into a career in the WWE? Because he's a great talker and he's a great mic man.
He's there.
So what does he do? How does he transition out of fighting? Because he's got his whiskey and he's got all these other things that he's got going on. I'm not saying he's done as a fighter, but what's the next step for him? Because he can't go on the commentary team because he ain't humble, is he?
No. And I'm not gonna lie, if I had to listen to him for a full event, I'd watch it on mute. Like, there's no way I could listen to his commentary, because all he'd be doing is be slagging off the fighters who are in there, saying how he'd be able to beat them, offering no technical breakdown. It's John Anik and DC at the moment, innit? Like, for me, they're a great pairing, and I actually prefer those over Joe Rogan and I forgot his name now.
Dominic Cruz? Or
No, the original sort of
Mike Goldberg?
Yeah.
Is Mike Goldberg or is that the guy from WWE as well?
No, I think like Mike Goldberg, yeah. Like, I prefer DC and John Anik over Goldberg and Rogan. Like, I think putting Rogan with DC and maybe Anik, great combination. But I think they've got it right with it, because he's done everything. He's got no ego, and he offers great insight, and he looks at it from a fighter's perspective, but in a very respectful way. So I think it is a case of McGregor now getting on the phone to Vince McMahon and being like, find me a place. Like, I'll come on. Here's my fee.
Yeah.
I'll be on every week. There. But I don't think he's going to do that.
No.
Like, he'll be seething at the fact that he's lost again. And I don't think he'll sleep for 6 months.
How much do you think the shit talking after the fight is just down to him having had an anticlimactical performance, not leaving it all in the ring, and then just throwing out some shit talk to spark something for a rematch?
I think a lot, yeah, and throwing a bit of frustration. Like, you could see it when he was getting interviewed. He was visibly and audibly annoyed just from where he's like shouting and like just having these outbursts, wasn't it? But like, Conor was getting the, I won't say he was winning, but he was getting the upper hand in the stand-up exchanges. On the ground, he was getting overwhelmed. Like, yeah, he had a few attempts at a few transitions. None of them came off, and he ate a few elbows for the privilege. So it would have been, I could have seen Poirier finishing the third or fourth with ground and pound. Like, Poirier wouldn't have stood up with him for the first 2 rounds. It doesn't make sense.
More jiu-jitsu, UFC/related news. Ryan Hall was fighting this weekend. Did you see that?
I've heard it and saw the highlights.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, what he was doing. Like, didn't he say he'd injured his shoulder and he could only Imanari roll on the other side? It's like, just get a plan B. Stop relying on
spinning heel kick.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there is definitely an element of, really good jiu-jitsu guys can throw kicks because they're not asked about being on the ground.
No.
But if you get your guard passed and you get hammer-fisted in the face until you're knocked out, that's not part of anybody's game plan. And great job of shutting down the inversion and any potential leg entanglement. But it doesn't always work. I had a couple of people saying beforehand, he's Ryan Hall's fighting just another jab Imanari roll. It doesn't always fucking work out. If you've got that as your game plan, people can counter it and start to work against it. So
it's easy to figure out.
Yeah.
Like, I've had people try to Imanari roll on me. Either step back or you drop to your knee and just, you can shut it down if you know what you're doing.
Or you can get kneed in the head quite easily.
Yeah.
And I don't know, because there was another one. What's the name of the guy who does all that backflips and cartwheel stuff in the cages? I think he's like a light heavyweight.
It's not Diego Sanchez.
No. But again, he did it again. So the guy was on his back playing open guard, and he turned around to backflip on top of him, but he kicked him in the head as he came down. So I was watching that. I'm not sure whether anybody's picked up on it, but that's kicking a downed opponent.
And imagine it would have been back of the head as well with the way the head was.
So it was shin coming down on top of the forehead, and so it was like a round kick to the face when he's on his open guard on the back.
Did the referee catch it though as well?
No, he just carried on from there.
Who won that fight?
Don't know.
Like, it's nice to see, but it needs to be within the rule set. It's like people throwing the inside leg kick and then getting warned to watch for the groin before they even hit it because they know it's a risk.
Yeah.
So if someone's going to do a backflip and kick you in the head to a down opponent, you need to be like, you do what you kick him in the head, you're going to lose a point.
I mean, the thing is with this guy, I've seen his highlight reel, and it's a thing that he does. So if you're playing open guard, he's probably going to try and backflip and pass on you that way. So
it's not Hanato. What's he called?
I can't think what the dude's name is.
The one that fought Gary Tonin at who's number one, because he did a backflip guard pass, didn't he?
Did he?
Yeah,
it looks
beautifully as well.
Let me try and get it up.
But yeah, I think McGregor's on that decline now. He's past his peak, and like you said, the sport's moved on. Like, I don't see him beating Oliveira. He's got a puncher's chance, but I think his next step is the WWE. Getting a call on Vince McMahon, doing what Ronda Rousey did. Like, she had the perfect transition, and she's got a great career there now. Movies, WWE, that should be Conor's next focus. But I don't know. I was listening to, I mentioned it before in the technique video, but Joe Rogan and GSP, and Conor McGregor actually came up, and GSP was saying that the solution to Conor's problem will be going to another fight camp where he's not the boss, where he's got somebody telling him what he has to train and not allowing his training to be dictated by himself and what he enjoys doing.
So it was Nico Price and Michael Pereira, and you can see the kick in the head. See it?
Like,
it's on the UFC's website as a highlight if you want to go and have a look at it, or probably on the Instagram as well.
He's just found a loophole on how to kick a down opponent.
Yeah,
that's just as bad as a soccer kick to the head.
Yeah.
Because you've got the momentum of your legs spinning around, your whole body weight going into it. I don't know how the ref didn't catch that. And the guy even pointed to his head.
Yeah. Bad. Not good. I mean, we were in this week's video that we just recorded, we were talking about Spazzy white belt passing.
That's definitely one of them.
If anybody does that on me in the gym and kicks me in the head, they're going to know about it afterwards. There's going to be some
combat rules.
Revenge crossface coming.
And revenge sort of reaching for the crossface, missing the head completely, and oh no, I've just elbowed you in the nose. Sorry. I just elbowed you again. And again.
It just keeps happening, it's too slippy.
Yeah.
I'm not even sweating yet, what's going on?
And then sort of like going into a scramble and getting a nut in as well. It's like, oops, oh sorry, I didn't mean to headbutt you. Just like you didn't mean to kick me in the head, I didn't mean to headbutt you.
I'm not rolling you, mate. You sound like Jesus Christ.
I'm lovely, really.
What else we got?
Big date next week, July 19th.
Yes. The thing that we've been talking about for the past 12 months.
It's finally here. Christmas has come early.
Yeah, Jiu-Jitsu Christmas. We can all cuddle each other again.
Legally.
Legally. Yeah.
I can't wait. We've got loads of trialists set up for Hive. Doors are ready to be back open.
Yes.
And just wanting to get that the full club going.
Yeah, this is that time now. If you've been sat there over lockdown and you've been wanting to do it, how many people say, "Oh, always wanted to try jiu-jitsu," but it's like, have no but. Have now is the time that you start.
Yeah.
What better way to get back into not being in contact with people for 18 months than to just dive straight in at the deep end?
Oh, 100%.
And start cuddling strangers.
Cuddling strangling strangers, getting strangled by strangers. It's a win-win, really, isn't it?
You can do it in your pyjamas.
Definitely.
Or you can do it in a pair of leggings.
Or, as if you're watching MMA, the old GSP style shorts.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't get any better, does it?
No, all jokes aside though, I'm mega excited to get some new people into jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Doing this over the past 12 months has helped, 18 months, is it? It's about that, isn't it? It's between.
Yeah.
It's helped me a lot. like listening to the podcast, doing the technique breakdowns that we've done for fights, having the interviews that we've done. There's absolutely loads of content on the YouTube for everybody to go back and check out and get hyped for starting up on jiu-jitsu again next week and going forward. And like now's the time, if you've got people who are saying, if you've got friends, if you train jiu-jitsu, I want to get down, like show them our videos, show them the interviews, show them some exciting fights that we've broken down and get them on the mats. Like you've got to strike while the iron's hot.
And if you're listening to this and you're starting, go back and listen to our episode. We put the fun in fundamentals. It's a great introduction. Tells you what to expect, how to conduct yourself, how to make the most of your time. And just fully dive yourself into the culture of grappling as well. Like it's not just a sport; it's a full culture. You're gonna get friendship groups. You're gonna have a completely new social circle, and like it is a very common thing to say that you don't make new friends as an adult. Like join a sports team, you will get that new social circle. And it's doing that will massively help your learning, self-confidence. If you feel like you've gotten out of shape over the past 18 months, this is your perfect opportunity to learn something new, have fun, get back in shape, get stronger, and socialise again with some different people.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people will have been living by themselves. I know restrictions have eased a bit over the past couple of months. But a lot of people have been living by themselves, very little contact with people, maybe they've been working from home as well, and just not seeing anybody. And you know, going back to what Sarah was saying about fitness there, don't be surprised if you get very tired in that first session on the mat.
Yeah.
Because two reasons. Because it's very tiring, just moving your body around if you've not been doing it. Two, it's very tiring trying to move somebody else's body around as well when you start doing the drilling, so don't be surprised that it's tiring. You get used to that pretty quick. But three, the other thing that a lot of people overlook as well, especially when they're learning a new skill, is that cognitive engagement makes you a little bit more tired as well.
Yeah.
So like, you know, you always see when you're learning something new in the gym, because you're thinking about it more, like your heart rate's up a little bit more, you're thinking, your adrenaline's up, maybe it's new to you, you're not familiar with like grappling or being in close space, so your brain's going to be whizzing. So that's going to get you a little bit more tired, so just try and dial it back down, take a couple of breaths and focusing on staying focused in the session, but enjoying it as well.
Yeah, I'd also throw in as well, like the anxiety before going can also drain you, so there's a lot of factors going in that's going to make this first session or the first week very tiring, but hopefully you enjoy that first week, and if it's not for you, at least you've tried it. If it is for you, keep going. Because I know when I'm teaching, my warm-ups are very thorough, so don't be put off if the warm-up is difficult. It's a tough sport, we need to make sure the body is prepared, so just do your best, enjoy it. Yeah, just do it. Go full, what is it, Shia LaBeouf? Just do it!
Just bleed! Yeah, we kind of joke about it a bit, don't we? You know, and there can be a bit of anxiety there. So, but what you'll find with a lot of jiu-jitsu clubs, you know, even if it's in an MMA gym as well, if the jiu-jitsu is part of it, don't be intimidated.
Yeah.
I was just speaking to one of the guys who I know, one of my mates' dads, and he does jiu-jitsu and kickboxing, and we were talking, and he went out with a couple of the MMA guys, a couple of the jiu-jitsu guys for a walk at the weekend, and his missus was there, and she was saying, God, I thought they'd all be like angry meatheads and just lots of grunting and nobody talking to each other. She was like, they were the nicest people. Everyone was really calm and polite, and he was like, they were like, what did she say? Don't take this the wrong way, but you were like a bunch of bird watchers. Yeah. Like there's all that knobheads in MMA and jiu-jitsu. There's like that in everybody, but we're for the most part pretty chilled out. So don't be intimidated. Everyone's pretty nice.
I think most grapplers that I know are gamers, pretty nerdy, like weird shit. Just to put it like,
not to make it sound too
not to sound it too weird.
We all like weird shit.
Yeah, you'll find a lot of them have sort of quirks to them that just makes them a lot less intimidating.
Yeah. Another thing as well, like we're not very well qualified to talk about it, but I will say the likelihood is that if you're turning up as a female to a beginner's jiu-jitsu thing, or you're probably going to be one of a handful of females doing it. Don't be afraid to like pair in with the other females as well and kind of get a little bit more comfortable with it that way rather than getting stuck in there with the sweaty blokes.
Yeah.
But also just know, like what we said before, that there's nothing that some of the positions that you might get into might feel really unfamiliar and a bit uncomfortable to begin with, but honestly, like there's nothing. People aren't going to be thinking about the positions that you might be thinking about them initially. It's about how are we training jiu-jitsu in this position, and the sooner you can get over that initial hurdle and barrier, the more comfortable it'll be, and the much quicker you'll learn, and the more everybody's going to relax. If you start being very awkward about it, it becomes more awkward. So just try and relax and kind of embrace it for what it is.
Yes, and just try to enjoy it. Try to absorb as much as you can. Ask questions, and then ask some more, and then ask some more. If you don't understand anything, let the instructor know. Let them know if you're struggling with understanding a concept or a movement, or if you're unable to move in a certain way, and they'll work to accommodate that.
And if you go to your first jiu-jitsu class and you've been listening to this podcast, and before the next one airs, let us know whether you enjoyed it or not, or let us know whether you think we're liars and we're trying to rope you into some weird cuddling in pyjamas and lycra.
It's the new weird cuddle cult.
The perfect way to come out of COVID-19 in 2021, 2 years later. Cuddle Cult 2021.
Cuddle cults and chokes.
There you go, there's another t-shirt. We need to start making these t-shirts. We've got an impeccable line with Acai and Jesus and Cuddle Cults and jokes.
Just imagine there's two teddy bears choking each other.
There you go, the t-shirt's made. Let's get on it. Anything else?
Nothing that comes to mind.
No?
If there's anything, questions you got, make sure you leave them in the comments. Hit us up on our social media. Bonafide PTs, Coach by Side. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe button and share button.